This podcast is sponsored by Fial, your Jaguar and Land Rover dealer in the Algarve.
Book a test drive in the new Defender in the Fial showroom in Faro.
Welcome to the Portugal Diaries podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm Claire, and on today's show we have got Monka, DJ, drummer, extraordinaire. I had to add the extraordinaire. We've seen the YouTube videos were like, whoa.
Yeah, incredible. Welcome.
Oh, thank
Welcome
you.
to the show.
So what first sparked your passion for drumming and DJing? Did one come before the other, or?
I was a drummer before I was a DJ. I played drums since I was 11 years old. My dad took me to a Glenn Miller tribute band concert, and I just couldn't stop staring at the drummer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like, I want to do that.
Really?
And I think I was about 9 years old then. And then it took.
And did your dad go, oh no, that's going to be really loud?
The worst
much,
instrument ever.
So it took 2 years of convincing
Yeah.
that I wasn't just going to get a drum kit, make loads of noise and do nothing with it.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 11, he bought me the drum kit for Christmas.
So
And
did you start having lessons like 9,
yeah,
10?
I had lessons for the first 5 years and then
Okay.
self-taught after that.
Wow.
And so how did that turn into like how you do it now, like combining it with DJing?
So I went through session work, lots of different bands, and I don't know if you've worked with musicians before, but they're pretty unreliable. So the amount of times it was back and forth with the bassist left, the singers got other commitments. So you'd get to a point where you've got a decent band together, and then before you know it, you're restarting a band. And it got to I just got sick of that. It was year upon year. I was constantly forming new bands. So I was like, how can I go solo with this?
Yeah.
And one of my friends was a DJ at the time. He's actually a really successful DJ now as well. And he was like, why don't you just get some bongos, some percussion, and come and play along to me?
Wow.
So
Amazing.
So you started off working with a DJ and then you've combined the two?
yeah. So I did that for a long time. I was, I kind of reached, I don't know if there's a pinnacle of doing it, but there is a ceiling with that kind of work where like I had residencies over in Ibiza, playing all the beach clubs in Ibiza, the big clubs and stuff. And then COVID happened. And I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
So I lived alone in an apartment in central Manchester. And then it was like,
What did you do?
well, I built the new show that I've got now.
Wow.
So
And that, so did you just were you just messing around thinking, okay, how did that come about?
I just got lost in the process, if I'm honest. I did not expect it to get as big as it has.
Yeah.
I just ended up down this rabbit hole of technology,
It's
and
very cool. Because it's not just the drums and the music, is it? It's, other things with lights and...
it's hard to explain what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
But
until
it's
I
like
watched the
immersive,
video.
isn't it? It's like a fully immersive show.
Yeah, it's like a full 3D visual show. It's
It's very cool.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to explain it to people. But, I use electronic drum pads to trigger audio, visuals with a loop pedal. And I also, with the latest version of the show, I manipulate an AI face. And she sings the songs. I have full control over what she does.
No way.
And when I hit the drum pad, she reacts. So I direct her with my drumsticks.
That's so clever. That's just like, I always find, obviously, you're in a creative space, you're in a creative industry, but it's like thinking outside the box. Do you know what I mean? Reinventing as something else. And also, like, to watch it, took me very much back to my clubbing days. As a 90s clubber,
Nice.
just honestly. But
I was thinking I want to watch this live. Like, where can
yeah,
I go to?
I know, but it's
Yeah.
just kind
Very
of the
cool.
way it's, do you get nervous? Because obviously you've gone from being, you were with these other DJs like at Pasha and all the place in Ibiza, but you're now the headliner, aren't you?
Yeah.
And so does that come with a load of nerves? Do you think?
Don't really get nervous.
Really?
No.
Why do you think that is? Because you've done it so much with other people that now you just kind of...
I think so, yeah. And I what I try and do is when I'm in the studio is I will think of every eventuality and mistake that could happen.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong, that still things do go wrong on stage. I can tell you about a catastrophe that happened on stage with the show if you like, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But what I try and do is preempt
Yeah.
what's going to happen on stage. So if something goes wrong, I at least have a contingency
Okay,
plan.
that's
But it doesn't go to plan either. Once I had a pedal. So if my visuals didn't work, this was before I had the AI face moniker. I had an emergency pedal which would reset the visuals back to just a generic visual. And I set that up on stage, and the bass from my monitor speaker was pressing it constantly. So I ended up just having to unplug the emergency pedal. And to be fair, I didn't make a mistake that gig, but
Gosh.
yeah, sometimes you can't rely on your emergency contingency plan either.
And that's obviously something that had gone wrong. Like you've got to, you say you preempt stuff like that, but has there been anything where you could just never have expected, good or bad?
Oh yeah.
Go on then, elaborate.
There was one show I was in front of. There was probably about 2,500 people in front of me. 2 songs in, and I'd laid down the piano riff, played some drums, looped those 2 over, and obviously it's the first track. I'm hyped up. I want the crowd to feed off my energy. I'm like, adrenaline's pumping, like, let's go. I'm bouncing about, and this is one thing that you can't plan for in the studio. The stage that I was on, the drum riser, was bouncy, so my laptop bounced off its stage. It unplugged the visuals for the screens, so then everything just went haywire. So on screen, it was the Ableton project, which is the program that I use for running the show, that ended up on the front screen. The back screen was the background of my laptop.
Just be careful there.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, it was just a generic one, so all good.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But the thing is, at this point, I'm like,
You're
I'm
in your flow
mid-show.
there.
There's nothing I could
I
do.
bet everybody is so into it that it's not really, because it's not like it's on a lull moment of like a performance. It's like everyone's so hyped, aren't they?
They are, yeah. But then it's also like, I mean, if I was in the crowd, I'd be like, what's going on? Like,
Really.
but I think, to be honest, that was actually one of the best shows I've ever played.
Really?
So why do you think your adrenaline just kicked in and you got through it and just made sure that you made up for it in other ways, or?
Well, yeah. So I managed to fix it, but I think this was in the earlier stages of launching my show. So at the time, because it was so complex, the fact that I was triggering everything, I think some people didn't quite believe what was going on. And then when they actually saw it all go wrong and then get fixed and actually run smoothly, like the crowd energy for that show was incredible.
Oh, that's good.
That's phenomenal. That's really good. So do you find that, like, obviously you're so known now, you've got a huge social media following. So, and I guess do you find that people are coming to you to book you? Or, I mean, initially, was it a bit of a pitch, to say, look, this is what I can create for you?
It was at the start, but then I never tried to force anything.
No.
A lot of the shows did just kind of happen naturally.
Yeah.
And then since it's gone viral, it's kind of like picking and choosing now which ones we want to take.
You want to say yes, so I love that. And what about any highlights since you've gone solo with your own show? Have you had any massive moments where you thought, yeah, that was phenomenal, or the best show yet?
I think they're all of the shows, like, I'm just so grateful that I can go and do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like to stand up there, like, that's where I get my buzz. That's my high. You know what I mean? So to be able to do that in front of thousands of people every time,
It's incredible. What about people you've worked with in the past? So maybe highlights with another artist that you've just loved a gig, or?
Good question.
Best one, most memorable, most fun?
I think like Ocean Beach in Ibiza was always a good vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always non-stop there, just crazy partying. Eden in Ibiza is good vibes. I think nothing compares to having your own headline show.
Yeah.
Being an accompaniment with another DJ, it's great and it's good vibes, but you're always just an add-on to someone else's performance. Whereas having your own,
when you're the headliner, you know that they are there for you.
Yeah. They've got their tickets. They've stood
That
in
must
line.
be phenomenal feeling.
it's good vibes, definitely.
Yeah.
So what about what's to come for this year then? So we're obviously just in February. Well, we're recording in February at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably be March or April by the time this airs. We've got a few in the bank. Thank goodness. But so coming into spring, summer, and anything
Yeah, there's some
exciting on the
good
horizon?
UK festivals already locked in.
Yeah, nice.
A lot of requests over in Asia.
Wow.
India. The show's kind of gone viral, USA and India, more, especially in the UK as well.
Yeah.
But it seems to have popped off a lot in those two continents. So
That's fantastic. So I guess you'll go. You obviously when you were doing Ibiza, I guess you'd spend the summer in Ibiza doing it. Would you, as like almost like not a residency, because not necessarily one place, but almost like a Ibiza residency.
yeah. That's the thing. Like pre-COVID and before I had the show, life was pretty good. Like I didn't really need to build the show. I spent my summers in Ibiza and my winters in the Alps for ski season.
Yeah, because you've got all the après now, which is massively. Do you do this then? It's now after COVID.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we now take the show. So
That's incredible. And so, favorite destination in the Alps? Is there any particular?
I've actually got a show coming up in March in St Anton.
Nice.
Tony's. It's like halfway up the mountain, full view of the valley. So
Very cool.
That will
be
a ski trip.
Yeah,
Sounds
let's
like
do
a good
it.
excuse.
Yeah, we'll be like that. Well, with our mate
100%.
Monka.
Yeah.
That sounds very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
I
Because
might know someone who can sort guest lists.
There you go. Oh yeah, I'm all for a guest. It's been a while actually. I'm not going to say. No, that's fantastic. It's just So you've obviously got these where it's taken off in America now, and do you get like requests from places like Dubai? Because I know that type of crowd.
Yeah, there was quite a few actually for New Year.
Yeah.
In Dubai. It didn't transpire, but
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be doing some bits over there for sure.
And what about biggest crowd so far? Is there, or even coming up this summer? Is there one that's
There's a couple of big ones. I'm not gonna.
You can't.
No
You
spoilers just yet.
no
No,
spoilers.
because we've not announced the tour yet. So.
We're here for all the info. Well, that's exciting. Yeah, so some good stuff.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in the offing. I think
exciting.
the biggest crowd I've played to was it. Again, it was an accompaniment of a DJ, but that was Creamfields Festival in the UK. So.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so.
Exciting.
Do you, when you go on stage, and I said, are you nervous before you go on and stuff? But when you're in it, because it's such an immersive experience, like everything going on that just complements each other and works so well. Are you like lost in it as you're doing it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to concentrate with this new show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts and things that I need to pay attention to. So once I get about 4 or 5 songs in, I'm a bit more relaxed into it, and that's when I start to feed off the crowd and like.
So obviously I've not been to any of your shows yet, although we will correct
That's
that.
definitely on the list.
But from what you've described in terms of the loop pedal and the one man doing everything, it reminds me of Ed Sheeran. So I went to an Ed Sheeran concert a couple of years back, and I was just stood there thinking, how is this one person doing all of this? He had, I guess, similar in the sense of did the sort of pre-recording or the recording of the loop pedal and playing it back, and obviously you're doing much more in terms of all the extra bits or whatever. But like it's a huge thing for one person to just put on a massive show. The pressure must be immense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't tend to focus on that element of it. The pressure is just kind of like.
Look at us, we're putting all this paranoia in his head. Forget that question.
It wasn't really a question. It was just more of a statement in terms of like.
It's more like an admiration thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
no, thank you.
Yeah, it's the closest thing I can compare it to is just watching one person with just such talent to be able to pull the different elements together and entertain a crowd by themselves. Like
I think one of the comments actually on the first video that went viral was angry Ed Sheeran is what they called me.
Because it was the drums
intro
as
when
well.
I'm shouting on the mic. I don't think my mic technique was quite that good back then.
But as you said before, there was like the whole clubbing vibe. But it's actually Ed Sheeran, but up a notch and a bit more lively and a bit more modern.
But it's also
cool.
like, I don't know how to explain it. Like obviously, just harping onto Ed Sheeran, he's obviously clearly a really talented guy that just comes up with. And you are clearly that with this side of things. Not he's the singer, but with all this that you create, it's It's got to be. I'm only saying this because I have none of this when it comes to music at all. So it's like so amazing that your brain works in the way where you think, right, I'm going to combine that with that and that with that, and it just becomes this like fully. Do you ever change your set based on the vibe of a crowd,
Oh,
or
100%. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I feed off the crowd, and if certain tracks aren't working, I'll mix
wow,
out with them and change it up. 100%. Yeah,
Wow.
that's a big factor in what I'm
yeah,
doing because
So it's like DJing, but with all
yeah,
the extras and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Incredible. And what
yeah.
about if somebody was keen to do something like this, whether it's drumming, DJ, and just breaking into the music industry, I guess, in general? Is there any sort of pearls of wisdom that you would share with them?
Get lost in the process of it. I think a lot of people, especially like young up and coming people that I speak to, they're like, "How do I get started?
Yeah.
How do I do what you're doing?" It's like, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't
Actually
overthink
start
it.
doing something.
Yeah,
Don't have an end goal with it.
Yeah.
Just get lost in the process.
And I guess that links really nicely to why you're here in Portugal. So it's probably worthwhile touching on the purpose of this visit.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I've been invited over to be a mentor for a retreat sponsored by Kiss FM with Raquel. I think have you
Yep,
had Raquel
we've
on? Or are
had
you having her?
we have.
Yeah. So yeah, she's kindly
She's
flown
doing
me
great
over,
things.
and yeah, she's doing some really good stuff with up and coming artists in the Algarve, isn't she?
Yeah,
So yeah, really good. So yeah, we did a little session yesterday with some of the artists, and they kind of showcased the work that they're doing. And then there's a talk today where I'm gonna spill a little bit of the sauce on the social media side of
oh
things.
yeah. I
Oh,
have a couple of friends who are signed up to that, so they're coming in later with you.
Right,
Yeah.
nice.
exciting.
Yeah, because you have a big social media following, don't you?
Yeah, it's kind of taken off a little bit
That's
recently.
good though.
Yeah,
That's
And would
Yeah,
you
amazing.
say that it's taken off recently, or has it just been a steady growth?
Oh no, it blew up massively in September.
Wow,
So
okay.
sparked by anything in particular, or
So there was a video that I posted. So, like I said earlier, what I was doing in the earlier stages of my live show was because it's so complex. I'm triggering all the visuals, the lights, the pyro, using the loop pedal. There's a lot to kind of put across that it's me that's doing all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that I kind of struggled with at the start because it was like I'm doing all this stuff, but most people aren't actually quite grasping that.
Yeah, of course.
And then, yeah, almost like the video that went viral, it was almost at a point where it was like, I'll just get on the mic and tell them what I'm doing.
okay, to explain the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, so that's it. I kind
During a
of,
show, or
yeah, so it was the intro of the show.
ah,
So I explained it on the microphone and obviously with the new AI face.
Yeah.
very cool.
And
I
yeah, it
think
kind
I
of,
saw this. This is on YouTube, isn't it?
yeah, it's,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so. Is that your voice then? Maybe it's a different one, but it's that.
I don't DJ like a normal DJ, it starts with. I think
No,
it's
it was
done.
just explained what you were doing as you were doing it all. It was like a voice over.
I've done a few.
Oh.
That might have been one of the older ones that didn't hit.
It was, yeah, but it's interesting that because it does explain what's going on. Because, like you say, it's almost like you don't want it to be wasted on people that like you are going to all this kind of effort to create that final thing. So, then when I watched the first one, which was obviously fabulous music, I was just like, okay, I'm down for this. And then like the next one where it was then the voice saying, and I was just like, okay, that like really explains what's going on here, which then makes it even more amazing. 'Cause you're like, whoa, this is,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was flabbergasted by how far it went. I mean, I think now it's probably done about 30 million views across
Seriously?
each platform. So yeah, it was just like, oh wow.
Very cool. So what's next then? So you've already combined your drumming with the DJing, with the lights, with the AI and everything else. How can we possibly take this any further? Is there anything else you can add, or?
Oh, we're definitely going to go bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, me and my best friend, we have this thing. It's like you'll never be happy.
yeah,
More,
It's
more,
always
more.
like more.
something else to
So
do.
yeah, it's there's a few other things. I think like the AI face is starting to get a bit of a mind of her own as well with
Okay.
the way it's running away with stuff. So I think the next step's probably give her a voice with some original music as well. And then, let's see where it goes.
Very cool.
That's really good. And is there anybody else doing this? Or would you say you're the only person who's creating this type of show?
This type of show, I think I'm the only one who's doing it, especially with the face
Yeah.
and everything. Like, it's kind of unique. So
That's just so good. I'm in awe here. I'm in awe.
And I know we started the podcast by you talking about being, 9 and going to the show with your dad and learning to play the drums. But tell us a bit more about your early life, if you don't mind. What was it like? Where did you grow up, and what was life like back then for you?
I was actually brought up on a council estate in North Manchester. So I think my parents just did the best they could.
Yeah.
It was a big thing to be able to buy me a drum kit.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So to then, I used to practice like at least an hour every single day in a terraced house.
I bet your neighbours loved
Neighbours
it.
were like really happy.
But do you think there was an appreciation of, okay, they've worked really hard to to buy me this, I'm going to make sure I practice every day, and you appreciated the money that was spent, if there wasn't an abundance of it, that there was an investment made in you, and you're going to
Yeah, 100%. I think
our kids lack that, don't they?
Yeah,
Some of
100%.
them,
I think the fact that it took 2 years to convince.
Really,
I
you
wanted
really
the drum
wanted
kit.
it.
It's like,
You had to go, look,
Santa's
I'm
been
gonna
gone
have to
twice,
do something
where
with
is
this
it?
now, aren't I?
What do they think now if they're still around?
Yeah.
And
No,
what do they
they're
think for
really
what you do?
proud.
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
bet
they're
they
so
are.
supportive.
They're glad they bought that drum kit.
Exactly. They're like that. Well, yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
do they
yeah.
come and see any shows?
They've not been yet. My mum's disabled, so
Ah.
she doesn't quite get the opportunity to come to shows. But
Yeah.
one day,
She can
one
watch.
day we'll
She
find
can
her a
watch
spot.
At
online,
least she
lots of
was-
platforms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
see it all
they've seen
online.
all the videos and stuff, and they're really supportive. So
And so, obviously, going back to when you were younger, that I guess there wasn't a great deal of travelling going on when you were younger. Was there? Did you travel much?
in terms of
Well, I'm just
Holidays.
thinking like going abroad and stuff because you do so much abroad now. It's almost like
Life's changed
know,
a
oh
lot.
life's changed, yeah.
the first time I went on a flight, I think I was 21.
were you?
Yeah, we didn't do family holidays.
Yeah.
Our family holidays were to Wales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. So
So it's a very different life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
it
what
is a
about
little bit now.
travel highlights then? So as Claire's touched on, you've obviously travelled a lot, and that's definitely a theme that's running through a number of our guests. So do you have? Everyone seems to like to travel, given that we're chatting to them in Portugal. They're not home birds, are
Common
they?
thread.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite destination that you've been to, or somewhere that you're desperate to visit?
I love Barcelona. Barcelona's definitely my favourite city
It's a fun
outside of Manchester. Saudi Arabia was quite surprising, to be honest.
Interesting.
We were flown out to Saudi during COVID,
Yeah.
and it was interesting because they music was illegal up until a couple of years before we went out there. So people just didn't listen to music, and then we were flown out to perform to the people of Saudi, and it was it was interesting, an interesting dynamic.
But they must have been so ready for it, though, if they've not
Gosh,
been
yeah.
allowed to have gigs like that. And
Yeah, I think it's becoming more prominent over there now,
Yeah.
isn't it, with bigger festivals and stuff.
they're definitely keen to appear more Western, aren't they? And all of their investment in
Yeah.
football and trying to kind of attract that.
Yeah. I think they're kind of
Yeah,
losing
yeah.
the grip on the
become a venue.
rules.
But
and
nothing
regs.
touches the sides compared to Ibiza.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the number one spot, is it? That's
I
the
think
ultimate
so,
for your
yeah.
to be
So
in your
far.
industry. Yeah.
And did you say you're going to be over there this summer?
I will be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a favourite destination over there? Favourite club or?
I don't, to be honest. I kind of.
You can't say that anyway, even if you do.
Yeah, no, I couldn't.
You want to get picked by them all.
The thing, you can choose your vibe in Ibiza,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of it. You can
Yeah.
go over there and you can decide that you want to go party in one night. You can you want to chill one. You can like there's literally something for everyone and
Yeah.
What about
every age over there.
the season though? So do you prefer the start of the season? Do you prefer the crazy mid, or do you prefer the end when it starts to?
Middle of the season's
Yeah.
the best part, definitely. Like,
So,
the thing is, everyone comes over there just with this energy of
They're
they're
there
there to
to
let
party.
loose.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's just freedom. It's
Yeah.
just this,
And I think Ibiza will always have the edge on everywhere for like the club place. Do you know what I mean? The great music, the great club vibes, the chill out vibes. I just think Ibiza's Ibiza, isn't it?
yeah, the
everywhere.
production in the nightclubs and stuff
Yeah.
is just it's next
Insane.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to your own production, though, so your process that leads up to a night like that, so the bulk of it is you in a studio by yourself preparing, or have you got a team that works with you?
So the preparation is me at the moment,
Yeah.
and then I've got a great team of techs that help build the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we first started out, it was me and my girlfriend, bless her. So,
God.
yeah, it was.
She was your roadie.
Yeah, she was. Well, she was everything. She was. She was the driver. She was the roadie,
Oh, but that's brilliant.
tour
Do you know what I mean?
manager.
It's like,
Yeah, it was. But yeah, we've gradually progressed now to a point where we've got a nice team behind it.
Yeah.
Does she still get to travel with you to all of these
Yeah,
lovely
yeah.
places?
She's here with us actually. I think she was having a nap when we left.
Oh,
though.
good.
She gets to do the nice chilling side of it now, though.
Yeah,
If you've
that's
got a
it. She
team
can,
behind, yeah.
Yeah, she can make the most of it and actually squeeze a nap in.
Yeah, exactly. Good for her.
Because I was cracking the whip
absolutely.
before.
Oh, were you?
No, I was grateful for
that.
all the help, of course.
That's so good, though, that you kind of, it was like a close team, just the two of you, before it then became like a bigger team. And I guess there's got to be a lot of trust in, taking on new people to work with, because you want to make sure that they get your vision. That's like really important.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's you go through a lot of people to get to the point where you've got a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of the journey and part of the battle. It's
You don't miss the bands dropping out here and there.
not at all. Not one bit.
Lead singers quit again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, here we go again. Yeah.
You can predict. You not predict, but you can plan, and you're in control of your own destiny when it's you. And
Yeah, but there's also like, if you want to progress to a point where the show's bigger and you're excuse me, you're playing the bigger shows and stuff, you've got to relinquish some control.
yeah,
You're going to need to
Build a
get
team.
people in. Like
be able to
me and my
delegate.
girlfriend can't go and do all the stage builds,
Yeah.
like drive to the gig, stage builds. We were literally doing like 18-hour days.
Wow.
Drive to the show, do the stage build, then sound check, go home, quick shower, freshen up, have a really quick bite to eat, then play a 2-hour show, then pack the show down, get it all in a van and drive home. That was
It's a
the
lot.
the start. So yeah, it's like,
You've got to,
Glad.
but you've got to do those things to appreciate where you are further
Yeah.
down the line as well.
yeah, I think so. I think it's really important to start kind of, learning the lower end of it.
There bound to have been some pretty big challenges along the way. You talked about, doing it all yourself. Were there any times when you thought this is just too difficult, like I can't do it, or things you've had to
Every
overcome?
day. It is. The whole thing is such like it's more of a mental challenge than it is anything else, because you're constantly coming across friction. That's one thing I do within my process. It's like try and remove as much friction as possible, because you're always coming across things going wrong.
What sort of things? Give us an example of.
Oh, so the lights won't be working
Okay.
for one thing.
Okay.
To get it to the point where removing latency between things. So because there's so much going on where you're triggering the lights, the pyro, the visuals, even just the way that you've plugged things into your computer can cause interference and totally ruin it. So,
Sounds stressful.
Yeah, sounds really stressful.
but that's it. So it's working through that process and not falling at every hurdle.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, right, how do I fix this problem? And every day you're constantly problem
Every day's
solving.
like a learning day then, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you referenced your team, but do you have like a management team that they get in all the kind of, right, we want him for here, we want him for there, and then they say to you, right, okay, look, we've had these people want you, and then you get to say yeah or no.
Yeah, I've got an agent now that deals with the
Okay.
bookings and stuff. So yeah, it's we kind of, you've got to do it a little bit tactical when you get a bit higher up.
Yeah.
And not just take every show. At the beginning,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I want to get out there and I want to play
Yeah.
as many shows as possible. But then what I want to do is put on the best show and work with the best kind of promoters that kind of marry up with the show that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
And it also, I guess, if you're not taking on every show, then it creates that want, doesn't it? Like that you don't just take on everything. That's, it's like, oh, we need him. We really want to get him. It's really hard to get. Not in a conceited way, but just in a, like you say, you want to work with the best, do the best shows at the best places with the best people. So
Yeah,
it's
just a
good
little
to
more
create that.
exclusive, isn't
Yeah.
it? And like you say, you want to put on the best show. So in order to do that, sometimes you've got to work with the better venues who've got a little bit more of a budget, or their setups and the sound and light techs that they have on at the show are going to make sure that the full production marries up really well with my production and what the show is.
Yeah, of course.
One thing, Juliana's given us a signal to wrap up, and I feel like we haven't even touched on Portugal, which is kind of the point of the podcast.
I know.
So I think if it's okay with you, we definitely need to just jump straight into Portugal. And you, when we spoke before we started recording, you said you've been here before. This is your second trip to do the retreat, is that correct?
It is, yeah.
Or to mentor at the retreat. So what do you like most about Portugal?
The weather, for starters.
Helps, doesn't it?
Landing from the UK, I think it was about 4 degrees when we left the UK, and it was 18 here. So
I think you definitely get the value if you come over this time of year.
Yeah.
Then you kind of see summer is like, you're just like, oh, this is nice. But, you know, when you're flying over from the UK in February, then like you say, you land, you're like that, oh, this is what light looks like.
Yeah.
Had you been here before you started coming here for work reasons?
No, I've never been. So like we said, it's normally Spain or Ibiza in the summers and the Alps in the winters. So
Would you ever base yourself? Sorry, honey.
No, carry on.
Would you ever base yourself like abroad, or is the plan to always stay in the UK and then travel?
we have been talking about it this time I've been out. It's like,
Really?
yeah, because there's so many logistics now since Brexit
Yeah, of
for
course.
touring in Europe and stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's so I have thought about a base, and I think Portugal's one of the kind of places that a lot of people are moving to, isn't it?
Definitely.
Especially from the UK.
And it's so connected. We were talking about this the other day, like, because I think it's Delta coming in, aren't they, from America to Faro. So, you know, it's not a case of, like, Lisbon is pretty connected, you can get everywhere from. But Faro, they're starting to get people in, you know, airlines, so you're connected to America. I mean, the UK is a couple of hours, Ibiza's mega quick. You know, like Spain, well, it's our neighbour. So I just think it's ending up being so many people are coming because it's such a great base.
Yeah,
because
it's cheap as well. Like my flight out here, it was cheaper than my Uber to the airport.
No way.
It actually was. It was half the price.
That's
crazy.
crazy. That is crazy. It's actually a good base for Spain, isn't it? It's perfect for you if you're doing gigs here and there. It's a 1 hour flight instead of a 3 hour flight. So
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's sold, deal done. Most people have decided quickly, by the way. There's been a common theme on the sofa of everyone's made the shift to move, the decision to move here on a bit of a whim. So that could be this week for you.
Yeah, that's it. We've signed you up. There you go. Get your visa sorted.
Or an Irish passport. That works pretty well too.
We'll get like sideline.
I am Irish though. I am. I was genuinely born on the island of Ireland.
Yeah.
Honest.
I just didn't have an Irish passport until a few months before.
Until you needed it.
Until I really needed one.
I know, after Brexit, we're still on the kind of, been a bit difficult. But you know what? If you want something, you make it happen, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
You put your mind to it. So, right, we are going to do our quickfire questions with you.
Oh, okay.
Surprise quickfire questions. They're quite. I always let you go first. Go and you choose one.
Do I get time to think for the answers, or is this
No,
just
they're
straight?
quick fire.
They're nothing scary. They're just,
One of the questions we have on here, and we have asked it before, and we never really get much of a response, is about tattoos. Do you have it? But I can see you've got tattoos, so I'm not going to ask you if you have
I'm loving
any.
these ear ones
No, thank you.
because they almost look like you've got I'm a bit addicted to piercings, as you can see. But they're cool the way that they almost look like you've got a load of cartilage piercings.
Anyway, these quick fire questions are not very
Go on
quick.
anyway. Right.
I was going to ask. No, I didn't get to ask. Most meaningful tattoo, perhaps?
Probably that one. So I had that tattooed on me just before launching the show. So that was in the middle of building the show. It says "Seek Discomfort" written on my hand.
Brilliant.
And that was I quit drinking alcohol to build the show.
Did you?
And that was a big factor in that, because it was after COVID, and there was like the big resurgence. It was so tempting, because I was still going out doing percussion gigs and stuff along to DJs. So I'd always end up at these after parties. It was like everyone was high energy. They'd all been locked up for 2 years, and then it was like, but I'd obviously had this show that I built in the background. I was like, I should be concentrating on that really, and it was constantly playing on the back of my mind. So yeah, I had that tattooed on me, and I stopped drinking for 18 months.
So just to
Fantastic.
focus on getting that done, delivered, the
Yeah.
best it could possibly be. So I think I sort of almost talked over you there, but the tattoo says seek discomfort.
Yeah.
So just to remind you to not just stay in your lane, not just kind of cruise
Yeah.
along, but just get
Push it.
Yeah, yeah.
that. Love it. I think we should do 3 quick fire questions on tattoos. I think you can
Oh,
answer
no.
them.
I want to know if you could go to dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be? 3 people.
3 people.
Yeah. And it could
Um,
literally be anybody.
Bob Dylan, John
Good.
Bonham. He's a drummer from Led Zeppelin.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified. I was trying to play cool.
Bob Marley.
Oh, great ones. Okay. Yeah, really good ones. Go
Well,
on, last one.
I'm just gonna follow on from that one and just kind of hone that in a little bit further. So, biggest influence on your music, who would it be?
John Bonham, who I said earlier, no, not so much on my music, but my drumming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was a drummer from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Massive influence as a child, and then I think a lot of my style of playing, even though I play percussion with the live show, it still kind of comes through with that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, you've been really interesting.
No, thank you.
Really enjoyed
honestly,
having you
you
on.
are such a talent, so thanks for coming on the show. It's been really lovely to talk to you.
No, you too. Thank you for having me.
That's a
Right,
wrap.
yeah, go on then. You can say your bit.
I've forgotten what we normally say. So thank you very much for joining us
No,
on the
no
Portugal
worries.
Diaries podcast.
So you can follow us on Instagram, on the rest of our socials actually, at the Portugal Diaries podcast. And don't forget, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple, to the podcast, to subscribe, rate and review. Thanks so much.
Thank
No worries.
you.
Thank you.